Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
What's up, Smite fans? Wraithyn here. I am back with another how-to god guide. This time it's for Ravana. This one isn't going to be as long as the Thor video. It'll be about the same length as the Erlang Shen one. So if you haven't seen those two, definitely check them out. And if you like what you see here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. So quick and dirty on Ravana. He is an assassin. He does physical damage, and he is the easiest jungler to play. His kit is extremely straightforward. He's easy to pick up. He's easy to master. It's easy to hit his stuff, and he actually has an impact on the game, unlike a lot of the other easy to play gods. So we're going to dive right in here. Hopefully this helps you guys as you start to venture into the jungle. And if you're just starting out picking up jungle, I highly recommend Ravana as the first god that you play. All right, guys, let's get into the abilities. We're going to start with the passive. Ravana basically has this combo chain, and all it really means is after every 8 basic attacks, you get a shield up to 5% of his maximum health and 3% movement speed, and it can stack up to 3 times. So as much as 15% of his max health and 9% movement speed. I don't really notice this that much. It comes on every so often. It usually comes off by the time I get another 8 basics in. It's not really that essential to his kit. Doesn't really matter. We're moving on. On to his one, the Piranha Onslaught. It is a cone ability directly in front of you. It is not much more to it than that. It has an incredibly short cooldown, 7.2 seconds with the build I currently have on, which only has 20% CDR. Does a whole bunch of damage up to, with the build I have now, it's about 400 or so. Gives a nice slow, and the slow lasts for a pretty significant amount of time. The 2 overhead kick, the damage on this is kind of not even worth talking about. It gives you a little bit of movement speed while you're in the air doing the kick, but the crutch of this ability is the fact that he basically backflips and gives himself CC immunity. So it's helpful in the early game because you can start blink, and this ability is basically your beads for the entire early half of the game, right? So it allows you to play more aggressively. It allows you to, when you're diving enemy ADCs or mages, and if they have CC, you can use this ability to juke out some of their abilities and continue to get your damage off without getting CC too hard. Again, this is a line ability, not really worth talking about, not hard to hit if you're using it to try and confirm a kill. And again, it's more useful as beads. This is pretty much the last thing you level up here. All right, his third ability, 10-hand Shadow Fist. He throws another line attack forward, passes through minions, damages enemies, and it gives him a nice little heal for everything that he hits. So if you hit a full minion wave, you can get a decent size heal there. I think it's up to 280. That's not really what the important part of this ability is. It does a decent amount of damage, and the root duration, or it roots the enemy team or god, and the root duration is 1.25 seconds. So basically, you'll see in a little bit, the way you combo these together is you slow them with the 1, you juke out whatever CC they have with the 2, and then you root them in place with the 3, and then you just auto them to death. All right. Last, Mystic Rush, his leap ability. It's like a really slow on her jump, right? So you're going to go up into the air and you're going to come back down. There's really nothing complicated about it. It's a little harder to hit if you have an opponent who's moving in an unpredictable pattern, but it does a whole bunch of damage. You leap to the target location, damaging all enemies in the area, applying a debuff to enemy gods. They take an extra 10% from all sources, so that means your entire team. So you really want to get in there and ult on top of everyone. And then when Ravana lands, he gets a buff on himself that reduces the damage he takes from all sources from 10 scaling all the way up to 30%. That is nuts. Also, as you level it up, the cooldown on this ability goes down. The damage mitigation is really what's key here. 30% damage mitigation late game is bonkers. If you combine that with like a bruisery tanky build, you're pretty much unkillable, especially considering you're going to have beads and your 2 as well. But when we look at Ravana's kit as a whole, right, he's got 2 sources of CC immunity. He's got solid damage. He has a damage increase buff that he places on his targets, and he's got great lockdown between the 1 and the 3, right? So when it comes to just learning how to jungle, Ravana is like the perfect character because you can build him bruisery, you can play him aggressively, you can make mistakes with him, and your 2, your beads, and your ult are going to bail you out a lot of the time. Another quick point to Ravana, the way that I like to level them up is you level your 1 at level 1, then you get your 3, then you get your 1 again, then you get your 2, max the 1, max the 3, max the ult for the damage mitigation and extra damage, and max the overhead kick. If you feel like the enemy team has a ton of CC, you can max the 2 before the 3 to get the extra cooldown on it, so it's up pretty frequently. But I like to go for the big damage. I like the damage mitigation. I like to get in the middle of team fights, especially the tankier that I get. I value the damage mitigation on the ult more than I do the CC immunity on the overhead kick, especially considering I have beads and I can also buy a Magi's if I want. Recommended cast patterns here is instant cast for everything but the ult, right? I mean, you know, you should really be able to tell when somebody's in your ability, right? You shouldn't, it's a basic cone attack for the 1. You shouldn't need to know when somebody's inside of that. So why take the extra, couple of milliseconds trying to figure out if they're inside of it to get the ground targeter, right? I know where they are. That's fine. Same thing with the 2 and the 1. It's straight in front of me. So as long as I'm aiming at them, we're going to be fine. As long as you get used to the travel time of the 2 and the 3, you should be okay. And the ult, I keep this on normal cast so I can aim it if somebody's running and I know where they're going. I can time it. But that's the way that I set up my cast abilities for this god, and it works out pretty well. If you are against instant casting, the only ability that I would put it on for is the Prana Onslaught, just because when you roll up on somebody, when you blink, you want to get this off absolutely immediately. Coat Baby gave me this tip a while ago. It really improved my gameplay with Ravana when I switched from quick casting to instant casting, and it's just a good best practice. All right, moving on into the builds. Here's how we start. We go Assassin's Blessing, tier 1 mace for the 15 physical power. We're gonna go Blink because we get a free beads off of our 2, 1 health pot, 1 multi potion. You are always going to be looking to fight early on Ravana. His early damage is great. He's kind of a tank on the tankier side just out of the gate, so you want to get the healing and multi potion and fight a little bit in the mid wave if you can. I love to just rush into the mid lane, blink onto the enemy mid laner, see if I can force speed, see if I can get them poked out right at level 2 so I can then start my invades. All right, moving on to the Ravana build that I use. You can do whatever you want. You can build him full damage if you want. I like the Bruiser, tankier style on him. I think it's more effective. I think it allows you to stay in team fights longer. I think it allows you to soak up more damage, take the attention of the enemy. And I honestly have never run another build than this. I'm pretty decent on Ravana. And I think the full damage bit on him is a little bit overrated. So what you're first going to do is you started the tier 1 mace. You're going to finish your boots. You're going to go into Crusher. Also optional here is a Brawler's Beat Stick. If they have a lot of early healing or if they've just got a whole bunch of healers, you can get the Brawlers here. I personally prefer the Crusher and would rather build Brawlers later, like around where I have Mantle of Discord here. But if you feel like that healing is going to be a problem out of the gate, just grab it. From there, we go right into Void Shield. And then Uncule, same reasons that I build these on Erlang and sometimes Thor. Void Shield makes you tanky and also reduces the protections of the enemy team. And it gives you a bit of power. Uncule, I buy it for the passive. When I dive in, when I ult in, when I blink in, and a Guardian turns on me or a Mage turns on me, my ability to silence the entire enemy team is unbelievably invaluable. Also, if you kind of think about it, right, you want to be in the middle of these team fights anyway because of the way your ult works. You want to hit as many targets as possible to get that 10% damage buff off onto them for your team. So being able to be tanky in the middle of these team fights and also get that Uncule passive off is incredibly impactful on the way your team fights are going to go late game, and some of your ganks too, especially in the dual lane. Next after that, I like Mantle of Discord. If I get into trouble for any reason or if I stay too long in the team fight, the passive here gives me another beads and also that shockwave stun that goes out around it, plus the 60 protections and the damage mitigation as ult. You are totally chilling after you ult into a team fight. Nobody can do any damage to you. Lastly, the Titan's Bane. I want to make sure that, you know, if they buy a Sav or you know, their tanks have a little bit of physical protections and whatnot, that I'm going to be doing all the damage that I possibly can. I think Titan's Bane is just generally a good item. I build it on pretty much all my assassins that I can, and especially when you want to be hitting basically the entire team with your ultimate and with a bunch of your other abilities, like the slow, the Titan's Bane is going to be impactful. What I would trade out, you know, again, the alternative here is I'd probably move Mantle of Discord down one and stick a Brawlers there if I needed to. You could also flex a Blackthorn Hammer into this spot if you want a little bit more health. Move the mantle down and then replace boots with Titan's Bane. There's lots of options in Ravana's kit, but generally you're just going to want to be tanky. Trading out the boots, you can really do anything here, right? If you want to be tankier, you go a Spirit Robe. If you need more CC immunity, you can go Magi's Cloak. Between the Spirit Robe damage mitigation, you get 15% there. You get 30% from your ultimate, so you're 45% damage mitigation as somebody who's built Bruisery and has a lot of damage. And you're never going to get killed ever. Plus, you'll also have 30% CDR if you build this, which is nice for staying in those team fights. Magi's Cloak, everybody knows about the passive. It just gives you another tick of CC immunity. You can grab that. If you're way far ahead, you can get a Blood Forge. You know, you really want to be the one getting the kills in order to grab this. It's got decent power on it. It gives you movement speed. It gives you a nice big health shield when you kill somebody. So lots of variability in that last item slot. You can pretty much build whatever you want. Do not, under any circumstances, buy Hydras on Ravana. The fact that it is in the recommended tab makes me sad. Hydras is a bad item on Ravana, and I'm going to show you why. Right here, his basic attack progression. See that 0.75? So this is his basic attack damage right here, right? 0.75 means the first auto in his auto attack chain. So he attacks 3 times. 1, 2, 3. This first auto does 75% of whatever this number is. Okay? So your Hydras is only going to be boosting a 75% damage auto attack, which means that the Hydras is even less effective, right? So it's already a less effective basic attack, and the Hydras is less effective as well. So just don't buy it. It's not worth it. It sucks. Stop doing it. I see it way too often on Ravana. Drives me insane. All right, guys, last set of tips and or tricks is how to end somebody's life. This is what you're going to do to gank, especially if you have the blink up, you got your whole kit up, and we're just going to destroy somebody. So what we're going to do here is we're going to blink in. We're going to 1 auto, 3 auto, ult, right? What this does is it slows them with the initial hit of the 1. It gets my basic attacks in. If you remember the auto attack canceling from the Thor video, it's the same concept. It allows me to get a little bit of extra damage in. But the whole point here, and a lot of people, what they do is they go for the root first instead of the slow. What you want to do is get your slow off first because it helps you confirm the root. Also, if they have an escape ability, they leap away from you. The slow that you apply to them before they leap away is going to slow them down, so it's going to make it easier for you to chase them or ult after them and confirm your damage that way. You want the root when you know without a doubt that you're going to lock them into place. All right, so here we go. You ready? Boom. Okay, the last bit of how to play Ravana is how to team fight with him. Ravana is great for starting things off. He's got a bunch of damage mitigation. He's got a bunch of damage. He's got great buffs to apply so that your team can do more damage. So 80% of the time, there's obviously going to be some corner cases, but for the most part, I am blinking in, I am locking somebody down, and I'm either ulting after them or I'm up-downing into the team fight to try and hit as many people that I can. Ravana is a start off the team fight type of god. That's why we build in Bruisery. You know, you could build high damage gods if you want, but usually you're going to want to wait until everybody's abilities are down. We don't have to do that with Ravana. For the most part, between your 2 and your ult and your beads, you're going to be juking out all of their CC and all of their damage, and is one of the reasons that Ravana is so easy to play, because all you have to do is blink into the middle of the team fight, lock down one of their carries, and just ult on top of anybody that comes to try and stop you. That's really all you do. You can see here in some of the footage that we have that when you get into these team fight scenarios, you know, whether they're small or large, you just want to be the one in control of everything. And with all this defense and damage, you can just walk at whoever you want. All right, guys, that's it for Ravana. I hope this video was helpful. Please let me know in the comments if this helped you be a better jungler or be a better Ravana player. Let me know what you guys think. If you have different builds that you like to try, if you have different ways that you like to play them, let me know. I'm more than open to hearing about them. I'm certainly not an expert on this, but I think what I've given is a good way to start, especially if you're new to the god and new to the role. And definitely pick up Ravana if you're new to jungle. I think one of the worst things that you can do is pick a complex god that requires good positioning or anything like that, and then try and play a new role. Playing Ravana allows you to focus on being good at the jungling itself and not the god. And I think you're going to be a much more impactful jungler if you follow these tips and tricks and pick him up. So with that, thank you again. Be sure to subscribe if you like the content. I'll put out a few more of these. Check out my other videos on Thor and Erlang. We got a couple more coming. I think the next one's going to be Ao Kwang, even though he kind of got a little bit of a nerf recently. But we're definitely going to have some more good jungler content for you guys. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.